Welcome to the CE Pro Podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. Does your home technology solutions package extend outdoors? Homeowners these days are looking to invest in all areas of their home, and outdoor lighting and audio can give them entertainment, security, peace of mind, curb appeal, and more. And as Coastal Source dealer Adam Domurad of Smart Home HiFi by Mirarchi Electric explains on this week's episode, it can also help foster key trade partnerships that lead to profitable projects. As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review. Adam Domurad, VP of Sales at integration firm Smart Home HiFi by Mirarchi Electric. Welcome to the CE Pro Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Adam, we're really happy to have you participating. First off, what can you tell us about Smart Home HiFi? You know, where you're based, what your services are, your target clientele, things of that nature.
Certainly. So Smart Home HiFi by Mirarchi Electric, we're going to be 2 years old very soon. We offer indoor and outdoor solutions for entertainment. Everything from your Wi-Fi network, distributed audio around the house, smart home controllers, of course, outdoor entertainment, including audio and lighting, which is the point of today.
Great. And residential only, commercial, both? A little bit
both, yeah. Residential, commercial light, restaurants. We find it hard to say no. So just let me know what you're trying to do. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Sounds great. And where are you based? What's your radius of clientele there?
Sure. So we're based out of Bucks County, but I pretty much go anywhere. I have jobs all over in the tri-state area. Mirarchi Electric is also licensed for electric in Pennsylvania and New Jersey as well. So we stretch out pretty far. So anywhere in the area. Okay,
great. So yes, as you mentioned, we did want to talk about outdoor technology, focus on that specifically. We wanted to really dive into some outdoor lighting fixtures and audio, something that, we know that you've started working with Coastal Source, which is a great brand that CE Pro has kind of highlighted in recent years and really making waves on the outdoor technology front. So Adam, tell us a little bit about how you got into outdoor lighting and audio, and what's some of the solutions that you've seen of late that are really trending with your customers?
Sure. So, first I got introduced to the brand Coastal Source a good 10 years ago or so, and just a totally different way of looking at things. And I think that was one of the hurdles to overcome in the brand itself was their connection that they use. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But with their lighting, I like to talk about their lighting first. I've been really successful with that. Once you get your hands on these products, I think that's huge. You got to get your hands on these products and really feel them. And when you hand somebody a light or a fixture, from Coastal Source, and they feel it's build quality, that's huge. And of course, when you light everything up at night, it just looks fantastic. I think, a house lit up at night looks better than a fully lit house during the day, because you can accent so many more things. The audio product, everybody's always looking for a phenomenal outdoor audio product, something that sounds great, something that's easy to install. Certainly, if you're an integrator, you're looking for a way to do this quickly, but offer your clients a really awesome, top-notch solution. And I think Coastal Source brings that to the table on both the lighting and the audio front. What is trending? Everything. People are doing things to their houses right now. It's a really great time. And to highlight certain things in their backyards, you highlight a certain tree or, the opening of the doorway or the opening of an archway, that kind of thing. When you light those up, it really transforms your space into something pretty magical, actually.
Right. So what about the different types of fixtures that you install? Because it's not just the same type of lighting throughout a yard, right? There are various types.
100%. So you have, uplighting that we'll put up against a house to highlight maybe the house itself. And then you have your path lighting, and you have your walkway from the driveway to the front door, or from the driveway maybe to the backyard. And that can be a real safety thing too, the path lighting. So I find a lot of path lighting is not only to look nice, but also because, for safety purposes. Same thing with step lights, and integrating wall lights, down a wall to know where those edges are, maybe around a pool, for instance, or just even a property line so you don't trip on it at night. So between the path lights, you have your uplights, They have recently came out with a new style of more of a contemporary looking light. So then they have the silver and black finishes now too in those particular lights. So that's a lot of the fixtures that they really get into that can highlight a space.
All right, so tell us a little bit about how you pitch these products and solutions to customers. How do you demo them, and what are those discussions like when say you're talking about a whole home project? How does it get into the outdoor aspects, the lighting and audio, and how do you position that?
Sure. So I meet these people. We're inside, and the first thing I like to do is I'll find a window that's looking in maybe to their backyard, and you kind of stand there, and you're bound to see something that is just beautiful, whether it's a tree, statue, something, and you just stand there, and I'll be with the client. I'll say, man, that would look awesome if it was lit up. I can light that up for you, and just start there. That's what's going to get you outside. I truly believe that the outdoor space is untapped by a lot of people because they think of it as an afterthought, and it's totally not. Here's why. You ask somebody, go to somebody and say, give me an example of your most memorable outdoor or musical experience, your most musical experience, your best one you ever had. It's going to be some version of this story, right? It's going to be, wow, man, I was with my buddies or my friends, and we went to this concert, and it was a 3-day event weekend, and it was fantastic, right? It's some version of that story, whether it was just a single band or a couple. So if you can deliver and turn somebody's backyard into that experience, okay, you've just now opened the door to somebody's backyard that's now has another place to go to kind of escape your house too, because you get tired of your four walls, right? You get tired, I think, of looking at the same things inside, and it's great to watch a movie, and I love doing all of that. But going outside is it's something special. It's something extra. So I really have a passion for the outdoor entertainment side of things. And I think that's certainly what obviously helps, being passionate about what you're doing. So that's how I pitch it and get it out there. And with these products like the speakers, for example.
Especially over those last 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Absolutely. The speakers, there's so many different kinds of outdoor speakers out there, and they all claim to fit in with the landscape. Right? They all say, oh, it blends in, it disappears. It's a rock. It's supposed to look like a light. It's supposed to, just disappear. And they kind of do that. I mean, a little bit. But when you look at a pair of Coastal Source bollard speakers and they're installed, they don't blend in, but they look like they're supposed to be there. They look like they're an outdoor piece of architecture. And I think that's what really helps the look as well. And I show people their new design book that they put out called the Lookbook. And you show people and images, obviously, of things that I've done. And you see these final installation photos. It just looks like it's meant to be there. And then just so happens that they sound amazing too. So that's always helpful.
Right. So you're talking about curb appeal. You're talking about safety and security combined. Mm-hmm. I want to go a little bit more into that aspect of it too, because in talking to you a little bit before we started recording, I understand that you've done some, very interesting projects based on using the outdoor lighting as really kind of a big suggestion for bolstering the overall security of the home project. So tell me a little bit about those projects, how they came about, and what you were doing for the customers in those cases.
Sure. So I mean, I've had a couple customers that have come to me that have just flat out said, look, I want lighting to make my home feel more secure. And it got me thinking. And so I bring that up more often now because you can put a camera outside, number one, and have it out there at nighttime. But have you seen outdoor nighttime cameras? Sometimes they don't look so great. They certainly look a lot better when things are illuminated and out there. So that can just help your overall surveillance system as a whole. But walking, taking your dog out, if you have to take your dog out or you want to go out later at night, knowing that your house is illuminated front to back and on all sides, there's no dark spots anywhere. It just makes people feel comfortable about being out there. And like I said, it just so happens that it'll help out your surveillance system as well, because you throw some light out there, now the camera images look better too. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it from a security standpoint. And, we all hope that somebody that may be doing something that they shouldn't be, they're not going to do it in a fully illuminated atmosphere, right?
Sure. And I know certainly we've heard from integrators who do a lot with indoor lighting, putting things on
Mhm.
schedules so
Mhm.
that when customers are away on vacation, they can have it programmed. So it's like an away mode where it might go on certain times of day to make it look like someone's there. Do you
Mhm.
do something similarly when you're programming outdoor lighting or integrating it within an automation system? Does it work similarly where you can get it on a schedule like that, or do you make sure to, say, okay, we're going to light up this bank of lights during certain times of night? Is that how it goes?
You can do either. I mean, I like actually just putting things on a set schedule, and then you can vary that schedule by 15 or 20 minutes. So they're not always coming on at the same time and going off at the same time. That's helpful to make it look like somebody, if you're away on vacation, to make it look like somebody's there turning the lights on and off manually. But it's one of those things that one more thing that we can do with technology to help improve the quality of your life is to kind of push that away so you don't have to think about it. There's going to be nights if you have to manually turn on and off a switch. I know it sounds like a big deal. I'm making it sound like a big deal to do that. It's not. But if you have to do that, it'd be nice you forget to turn them on. It's going to be nice you forget to turn them off. And then they're just kind of running all the time. This way, it's one less thing to think about. That your home, those lights are going to turn on and they're going to turn off on that set schedule and vary by 15 or 20 minutes. One less thing to worry about, right?
Yeah, and I can imagine out there, maybe some of the rural parts that you guys work in, it's probably pretty comforting for people, especially between the months of the fall, winter, and spring when it still gets dark pretty early. That it's comforting and secure
Yeah.
to come home to a outdoor lit house.
Yeah. I mean, to do that and then not have to, because there's areas like you talked about in some of the areas around here, there's just no light. Like there's not city lights and street lights. There's just no light, big properties and backyards that are in the woods. So having your own light source is not only, desirable, but, needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about a little bit about the outdoor audio. How has some of the messaging with that been resonating, and how have you kind of demonstrated those systems so that you're able to market and sell them to clients?
If, with Coastal Source, the best thing to do is to bring the product to them. On my van, I carry Coastal Source audio, I carry Coastal Source lighting, and I demonstrate it to anyone who'll let me because I think it's the best out there. So taking it to the customer, setting it up in their driveway, or possibly even in the area that it's going to be. Not only does it expose them to it, because it's hard to grasp how great these things are without actually hearing them. So the demo is absolutely so important. So bringing it to them, setting it up, letting them hear it, and then they get it. I also carry samples of the wiring too. I mean, their wiring is phenomenal. They have just the 12 gauge wire. It's two conductor. It is soldered tin point to point. When you make their connection with their specialty connection, that's an airtight connection. You just have to hand tighten it. You don't have to crank it down with a wrench or anything like that. So installation time is faster than it would be, using the wire nuts and twisting things together and filling it with silicone. Just makes a mess all over the place anyway. So that timing is quicker. You have a wire that is virtually bulletproof. And then in sensitive areas, I like using their armored cable. So everybody turns their landscape beds over at least once a year. Twice a year is kind of preferred. And so in those areas, you want to use the armored cable. That way the shovel of your landscaper isn't going to go through that wire. I will tell you, the armored cable can be destroyed by a trenching machine. Just letting you know that's happened.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you about, just some best practices, kind
Mm-hmm.
of going off of what you were just talking about when it comes to system design and installation,
Mm-hmm.
how to really optimize it, because it sounds like, you're certainly giving customers, like a real world example of what they're going to be getting into with it. When you actually start putting together a system and start installing a system, what are some key considerations that dealers should know about?
Sure. I think it's important to have like a bird's eye view of the property, especially in the design stage when I'm putting something together. And you want to either have that for your own needs and also to provide to Coastal Source if you're going to use their design services, which is fantastic. Some considerations you really need to look out for is first, power. I mean, I am on the hunt for looking for an outdoor outlet somewhere that I can tap into. I'm fortunate enough to be a division of Mirarchi Electric. And so if I need an outlet, I can get one, wherever I need it. But that's something that if you don't have that, you don't want to hire an electrician to come in to do that. You're going to want to know where power is and how is it controlled. Is that a switch? Is that an outlet that's on a switch somewhere? Is it on a timer downstairs in the basement that's been abandoned? You want to focus in on how is that controlled and where is their power, and then you want to start laying out your wiring scheme from there, whether it's audio related or lighting related. So that's very important, is power. Take note of any bigger trees, because when you start to get up close to these things and you're trying to put wire in the ground, whether it's conduit, which I would absolutely recommend doing, or just hand trenching the wire in, those roots are going to cause a problem. So you need to think about those kinds of things when you're installing this stuff.
Adam, let's talk about how some of your customers find you, or how you connect with prospects. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about, do you do mostly, is it word of mouth, or do you have trade partners? I know we hear a lot about landscape architects who might be working with CE pros, but what have you found has been some of the real keys that have helped you in this area of outdoor technology?
Yeah, I would say my relationship with custom pool builder, with my landscapers that I have been tremendous in getting this brand out there, and my success with it as well. So the more people I meet in that realm, I'm starting to do a lot more work for, and maybe they're talking amongst themselves too, because now they're seeking me out. I mean, the amount of landscapers that I have is just tremendous. So you definitely need that to be really successful with the brand, but word of mouth from my core clients that I've had for a very long time has been helpful. And promoting, I'd say social media as well, promoting the projects that I've done and people seeing them like, wow, that is beautiful. I want that too. So that has been also very helpful. So dealers out there, promote that social media, get your pictures of your jobs out there. Customer testimonials, always important.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. And how are you able to connect with custom pool builders? Where did you typically find them, or do they are able to find you and reach out to you? And how early in a project do they get you in?
Usually I get invited to a pool. I'd say, once kind of ground has been broken and things are starting to get laid out is when I'm going out to a pool to kind of see what's happening and get a scope of the project. In dealing with building pools, the plans can change on a heartbeat. Once you start putting a big shovel on the ground, you got this giant hole back there. You uncover a lot of things. But you really just got to they're everywhere. Pool builders right now, you got to get out there and you got to meet them. You can walk up to job sites and just call upon them, and that's where it goes, and having your demo system with you, because you may have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to show somebody something. And their clients want this stuff. You're building a beautiful pool. You're going to want some entertainment items to go around that. So it's a natural fit. So don't be shy and get out there. Just call upon these people, go find them. And with the same thing with the landscapers. They're out there. They're starting to get into the lighting business a little bit. I found a couple of them, but they're certainly not doing audio. So there's always room. They may say, "Oh, I handle all the lighting," and I'm like, "Okay, that's great, but here's this awesome audio solution." So it's helpful to have both and be able to demo on the fly for sure.
Sure, and I imagine for social media, getting back to that a little bit, it sounds like you've been very proactive with the trade partners and with social media. What platforms do you use, and what do guys need? Is it just using your phone basically to cut some nice videos, short videos of how these beautiful systems look and sound?
Yeah, the power of today's phones is just tremendous, right? So with a really good phone, you can take beautiful pictures and make things happen. You don't need a ton of fancy equipment. By all means, a really good camera may not be a bad investment, but the newer iPhones and the Galaxy phones, all the new phones out there have awesome cameras and video cameras on them. So you can just use that and just always have something new, coming out. Here's a project I did. Look at it in this. And even if it's the same project, you have multiple different things that you've done on that project. You can constantly put content out there. And that's how I've gotten more landscapers to come out and follow me and hunt me out to help them out with their projects. And always tell your friends and people out there, look, I love it that you liked my video or that you liked my post. Please share it. share it. And that's how you can really make sure that your branches grow and the amount of people that you can get in front of and your exposure.
Yeah, that's great. Definitely to get that out even more, especially, if they can experience it and seeing the video first, I think that'll get them a very good idea of of what they're going to be looking for and calling you on.
Yeah.
Adam, tell us about just working with Coastal Source as a manufacturer, a trusted vendor for you. What kind of support do you lean on from them in terms of project sales and marketing, any kind of services, training, things like that?
Sure. Yeah, we'll start with their training. I mean, I've been to a couple of them. One was they're usually a couple hours at this point, but there was years ago some that were a day long. And I always loved that one because that was where they would bring up, they would ask for people in the audience to say, hey, who's really been doing a lot of landscape lighting? And they have them come up, and then they say, who's never done any landscape lighting? And somebody will come up. And the people that have done it, they'll set them off to the side, and they give them wire cutters and wires, and they give them the wire nuts and the silicone. They say, okay, wire up these lights. And then the other guy that's never done nothing, they give him the Coastal setup. And it always works out that the guy that's never done anything has that Coastal system set up in like a minute and a half. And these guys are still stripping wires over here and trying to get it to go. So that just really drives home the fact that this stuff is simple to install. It'll save you time. And not to mention, it's just a really, really great wire. So their trainings are always informative, and I love going to them as much as I can because I always pick up something new. The guys, installation best practices, tips when it comes to that kind of stuff, or new products that are coming out, things they're thinking of, and they love feedback as well. So when you're telling them, you're like, hey, I wish I could do this, and they would say, well, we're working on something, but you could do this for now. So it's always good to bounce the ideas off the guys that are really out there designing the products. What else do we have? So the training, the guys here have been awesome. I like when I have a bigger project that I'm trying to work on, getting Kevin involved has been amazing to drive out the big Coastal van. And it's such a sight, and it's like a jaw dropper when you see this Coastal van coming down your driveway and it turns aside and it says Coastal Source on the side, and they just have everything at the disposal. And that's why I made sure that I had a version of that personally. I'm saving up for a Coastal van. So
sure, but, and that's Kevin Minton, I believe.
Kevin Minton, yeah, Kevin Minton, exactly. So they're great, and bringing him out his knowledge of lighting is amazing, and of course he knows the audio as well. But it's just another level or another experience level when you bring these guys out to walk it around with you, because you obviously have the good relationship with your client, and then you're bringing in these professionals who know you as well. So it just elevates the entire design experience when you bring these guys on board. Once it is, let's talk about product availability. Coastal Source has really not been affected all that much. Every now and again, there was something that went, sideways, but they do a tremendous job of making you aware of what's out of stock and when it's coming. They're up to date on their website for a dealer, so you know that it's coming. It's right there. It's listed, and I haven't been let down yet. So as a whole, they've had their products in stock, which is over the last 2 years been something that you really need to think about when you're selling this stuff. So their stuff is in stock, so that's a great support, right? And then if you have any questions, calling this team here in New Jersey, they're right there to help you through any problems that you may have, just on the fly design. How would you do this? I'm thinking about that. Oh, send me a picture. I'll look at that. So they're very easy to work with. And I've had a lot of luck just, again, calling on the fly when I need something. Or if you have a problem with a product out in the field, it's pretty easy to get somebody. So for that tech who's struggling with something, or they, some curveball came his way, they're very responsive on the phone when you're out in the field too.
Sure, yeah. You always want to make sure that you've got great vendor partners in the space, and that certainly helps. Yeah. So Adam, lastly, I just wanted to ask, you've certainly given us a great deal of insights into outdoor lighting and outdoor audio today. Any final kind of words of wisdom or advice that you have for guys who may be looking at this category but haven't quite really dipped their toes in yet? What are some parting thoughts that you have to them that can really hammer it home that, hey, this is a space that you want to play in?
Sure. I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the outdoor space. It's a space that if you can transform and give somebody that experience that takes them back to when whatever that best musical experience in their life was, you're really going to transform that space. And a home, the curb appeal, anybody looking to potentially even sell their home in the near future, having that curb appeal at night really makes your photos look good. You can accent so many things, and it's beautiful. Outdoor lighting is absolutely beautiful. And then you top that off with having great music and friends over, and it's just this whole entertainment experience that you can have with an outdoor space that, you can't really replicate inside. It's just totally different. I mean, you can have a fireplace inside, but a big fire pit out back is something a little bit different. And then you got the grill going and music in the pool and kids playing, or it's a whole nother level. So it's a real thing. It's somewhere that I don't think everybody is taking advantage of, and your clients want it. They just don't know about it because not a lot of people are really talking about it. They're not, pitching it a whole lot. And if you do that, especially with this brand, it's going to be good for your business.
Yeah, it sounds like definitely kind of a win-win overall. You've got, real investment for the customer and some real profitability opportunities for the dealer. So on that note, Adam Domurad from Smart Home and HiFi by Mirarchi Electric, really appreciate your time giving us some insights today on the podcast.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for having me.